I'm Corey Fisher from O'Neill, Nebraska, and I was privileged to work with Coach B at RHS for 5 years. Paul was more than a teacher and coach. He was an advocate and a voice for kids. He was always teaching someone, always. I don't think Mr. B ever completed the teacher checkout form for summer break. That's because he never checked out. He never quit teaching. Coaching basketball was a passion, but his true talent was teaching young men about life. Coach B enjoyed great success as a coach, but I believe he was at his best as a husband and as a father. There was a special pride in his voice when he spoke of his family. As a dad, he was always teaching and guiding his own sons, and in that arena he was one of the very best. I am truly blessed today because I got to call him my friend, and I will miss my dear friend. Thank you, Paul.
As I got older and wanted to get into coaching, Mr. B was the guy who allowed me to be on his coaching staff and go on an unbelievable state championship journey. Even though I had nothing to do with it, he came up to me after we returned home from Lincoln and told me we couldn't have done this without you. As I became a head coach, even though he was off winning multiple state championships, he always answered my questions and would do anything I asked of him. When I would run ideas past him, he would say, "There's 1,000 different ways to skin a cat." That was his way of saying, "You know what you're doing, and I believe in you." Mr. B was a great man and will be sorely missed.
I have a lot of great memories of Coach Beranek, being able to play for him, coach with him, and then also the whole month of June we were around the state and doing basketball camps. Out of all of those, I would say my favorite memory of Coach Beranek is any time he hugged me, told me how proud he was of me, and then he always ended it with, "I love you."
Everyone knows Mr. B's sideline actions, the stomping, the kicking, the screaming, the jacket throwing. One particular close game, there's a lot of that stuff going on, and they ended up winning the game. After the game, in the locker room, Mr. B held up a chunk of his shoe and said, "You boys won that game because you had soul." Well, he had kicked or stomped so hard that he broke a chunk of his shoe off. I don't even know who we were playing, but I'll never forget that.
My name is Corey Techmeyer. I had the opportunity to be part of Coach B's first varsity team. I still remember the first time we met. I was about 11 years old. I was going with my brother to the town team basketball game. I remember Mark saying that we got a new player for the team. I then saw this tall, skinny guy with blonde, curly hair walk to the car. I said to myself, what in the world was Mark thinking asking this guy to play? Boy, did Coach prove me wrong. From the opening tip, you could see his competitiveness. Not only could he jump out of the gym, but he had a jump hook that was nearly unstoppable. It was that competitiveness that made Coach B truly special. He brought that intensity as a head coach, and it made every one of his players better. I always appreciated what Coach B did for me. We will miss you, Coach.
He was very intense, and you could tell that he loved the game of basketball. And off the court, that intensity then carried over into how much he cared about his players. I can't remember one time where Coach B would walk by without saying hello, well after I'd graduated, or just check in, see how I was doing.
I had the privilege of playing softball with Paul Beranek in the late 80s. We played on a team out of Kearney, Nebraska called FATCO. The biggest memory I have of Paul is when he hit his towering home run shots. He always liked to grunt, and the farther he hit it, the louder he grunted. He also liked to lope around the bases. He was a good guy, and I really appreciated playing softball with him.
From giving Coach the game ball in that Ainsley locker room after his first win, to seeing him driving around in his cool black Fiero, to picking up a hitchhiker in the school van on the way to a basketball game. All great stuff. Many remember his coaching abilities, but boys, he was quite the athlete himself. Thus I imagine him in heaven, taking the ball to the rim and raining down off-balance threes in his old-school Converse shoes.
My name is Blake Promosta, and I was a Ravenna basketball player for Coach B the last few years. And one of my greatest memories of Coach B would definitely be whenever he drove a van. For some reason, he always got to control the radio, and I love a few classics here and there, but we always had to listen to the oldies. And so we made a game out of it to where the first one to guess the artist or the song, and it always came down to Coach B, Michael Bauer, and Coach Duncan. But one day I got a little smart, and I started Shazamming the songs, and I was, guessing Meatloaf from 1940, back when dirt was invented. and all that good stuff. And he eventually caught on pretty quickly when I nailed a few in a row, but that was definitely one of the best memories. And
one of the things I appreciated most about Mr. B was his personality and his sense of humor, and that included playing pranks on individuals from time to time. And so he had us all gather around his computer at the start of class, and so we all focused in, and he had turned up the speakers really loud, and a ghost goblin was on the screen and shot up, and really loud speakers, a scream went over them, and it all scared us quite a bit.
My name's James Habe. My favorite Coach Beranek story comes from when I was probably in 2nd or 3rd grade. We were fishing at Windmill in Gibbon, and after we got done fishing, he took us over to the swimming area. And on the way there, he told us, made a sarcastic comment that if we got in waist deep water, there's a chance that walleyes might bite our wieners off. And I didn't know what a walleye was, and I really didn't pick up on his sarcasm. So that whole day while we were swimming, my friends were out there swimming, playing catch, having fun, and I was scared to death to go into the water deeper than my knees. So as they had fun and played, I stood pretty close to the beach, afraid to go in any deeper.
I'll never forget the time where I lost my mind and tackled a kid while we were playing GICC, and Mr. B took off his suit jacket and made a huge scene to get a technical so the attention would stay off me so I wouldn't get kicked out. And that's something he should be remembered for, is not going crazy and making a scene, but protecting his own. And it didn't matter what one of his players or what one of his kids, who it was, he always had your back, and that was really cool.
Mr. B was like a father to me, and I always loved it when he brought me to those basketball camps. They taught me so much about on and off the court, and never being able to share those experiences with him again, it's hard. I miss him.
When it comes down to it, all a man can really hope for is the love of a good woman, to know that he raised his sons to be fine young men, and to leave the world a better place than he found it. And you did that, Paul. I love you.
As Mayor of Ravenna, it is an honor to have had a man like Paul be a part of this community. Paul touched more lives in the short time here on earth than anybody I know. He always saw the good in everybody as he strived for perfection, whether it was on the court, in the classroom, or on the street. Paul may be gone, but his memory will live on forever. So neighbor, it's not goodbye, it's see you later.
After I talked to him a little bit and met him, and I thought, hey, he looked like me. I thought, hey, if they took a shot at me, that we got to give Paul a shot. And Brenda doesn't gamble, and I do gamble, but we both bet on Paul.
Yeah.
And we both came out winners then. And he's so proud of the boys. And Brenda, what a great,
That was better than the lottery, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. And all three boys were so successful. I think Nebraska won a national volleyball tournament. Hey, more tweets on Paul Beranek.
I had the honor of working alongside the best dressed, honoriest, and most passionate man, Mr. Beranek. I would say he was more like an ambassador to Ravenna High School than just an art teacher. You would always see him meeting, greeting students in the hallway with his GQ swag and his in-your-face honesty. And if you weren't working at Ravenna High School and met Mr. Beranek, I can guarantee you wanted to work here.
Mr. B gave me the confidence to pursue a graphic design career that is notoriously hard on the ego. Half the battle is believing you can do it, and I always knew I had Mr. B in my corner telling me I could do it. Not only did he encourage me in high school, but he kept in touch throughout my career, always being my biggest cheerleader.
The best things that I ever learned from Mr. Beranek was the concept of the happy accident. He used this in art for when we would drip paint on our work or make a mistake, that you can always turn things into birds or trees or things that still add value to what you're working on. I've always been very grateful for that insight, and I don't know I don't know if he knew how profound he was being when he taught us that.
It was a pleasure to have you as an uncle and as a basketball coach. I will never forget all the things you have taught me on and off the court. And when times get tough, I will reflect on the courage that you showed us, and I will always be strong. I'm gonna miss you, Paul.
One of my favorite memories of Uncle Paul was when he came over to my house for my birthday party. He dunked the mini hoop so hard, he broke it and tore down the drywall. I love you, Uncle Paul.
Paul understood the common goal of bringing people closer to Christ. In some form or another, he gave each and every one of us insight into this master plan. There's nothing that comes to mind that exemplifies a man's integrity more than one who freely lives out his faith. Paul was playing the greatest game of all, and he won. Thank you, Paul, for sharing with us the sweet victory of Christ.
Mr. B was an incredible teacher, mentor, and friend to me. A couple years ago, he asked if I would want to talk to one of his classes about photography and editing in Photoshop. I was nervous and unsure about what I really had to offer, but in that effortless way that he always did, he reassured me that everything would be fine and that I would do great. And what he didn't realize was that he was extending love and encouragement at a time when I needed it most. It really felt like a God thing, especially because of the timing. But then again, I think God was constantly working through Mr. B. I know God works through all of us, but it sure seemed as if Mr. B had made it onto God's top list, because he worked through him all the time. And the thing is that he handled it with such great compassion and grace. You will forever be in our hearts, Mr. B. Make sure to give my parents big hugs for me. And since I imagine Bob Ross was likely part of the welcoming committee at the pearly gates, have fun painting some happy little trees.
He was just a great guy to talk, not just basketball with, but just other things too. Because you got to remember, this guy was a great man of passion. I mean, he was very passionate when he coached in the course of a game. Even as the art action, he was a passionate art teacher. His family is very passionate about his life in general and just his spiritual life also. So, but I'm going back to just to be strong here again. Paul's relationship with Jesus was just awesome. And what I would like to have people now realize, and I tweeted out that this morning, is when you see that be strong now, I want everybody, and I know Paul wants everybody, just to have that great relationship with Jesus Christ. And that'd be his number one thing he would love to have when people see that logo right now.
One of our buddies and longtime head coach at Ravenna, Paul Beranek. This will probably be it. I mean, his seniors are graduating, the cupboard's bare. It's time for him to get on his horse and ride out into the sunset. And Paul Beranek joins us here on the Doug and Daddy Show.
I have a senior son next year that'll be at UNK, and all my sons have gone through the program with me, so I've been kind of that dad that gets to have their kids around and do the types of things dads wish they can do. And and even on my phone, I got on the back of it, if I can't type correctly, one of my sons got me a picture with I got all three of my boys. I'm hugging with them, hugging them, crying on them, and it was a present. It was the perfect present, and every day was a blessing. And I think people need to look at that. And was I as fiery as ever? Sure, because I was not going to second change anybody as far as my coaching ability. They were going to get Paul Beranek at his best, and that's what I did. I was tough. I am tough. And people that went through our program could play in front of Bellevue West, 4,500 people. People could play in the state championship because they were tough. I made them tough. Our assistants made them tough, and they made themselves tough. So it did. It opened my eyes in a lot of things, and family especially.